This is the Writers Podcast, a Writers After Dark radio production, bringing you the best in writing advice, news, trends, and interviews. Hosted by award-winning authors S.K. Anthony and Raymond Esposito.
Hello and welcome back to the Writers Podcast. I'm Raymond Esposito and I'm here in the studio with my co-host S. Catherine Anthony. Hello, Catherine. How are you tonight?
I am good. How are you, Raymond?
Pretty good. I'm psyched to be doing a second take of this episode, The Tribulations of OCD. So tell us what we've got today.
Okay, so today's authors have many publishing options, and small press publishing has become a significant cottage industry. So we're going to cover that.
Cool.
On this episode, we want to discuss the 10 questions a writer should answer before signing with a small press.
So I try to make it interactive, but whenever I throw in something like cool or hey, that's good, it throws you completely off. So sorry about that. But
no, it's okay. It's just, when you get in your own head and then you're, wait, no, I don't know. I didn't think about what happens if he says cool. Yeah. I wasn't prepared.
You always think I'm asking a question. No, I'm just saying cool. Excellent. Dude. Yes. To get back to the point, self-publishing certainly changed the book industry's dynamics. And many of the large traditional publishers, say that 3 times fast, large traditional publishers struggle to make profits and maintain relevance. Many entrepreneurs have seized the opportunity to fill that void.
Not burdened by high overhead or restricted by antiquated publishing practices, small press companies have the benefits of both agility and flexibility.
True, they do. Which is why for many authors, a small press publishing contract offers a nice middle ground. It's a place between being on their own as an indie author and the long, often pointless process of courting a major publisher.
Trying for a contract is understandable since it offers both excitement and a sense of approval and acceptance.
Yeah, in short, for some writers, I've been published feels more legitimate than I've published.
And for those authors not interested in all the mechanics that make up publishing, a small press can alleviate the stress of the requirements and the unknowns.
They can, but unfortunately, small press publishing is not without its dangers. And signing with the wrong publisher, it can have a huge ramification on your writing career.
As you might recall, Brian Keene, the best-selling horror author, had an agreement with a small press publisher.
He did.
And it cost him a lot of headaches and a lot of money.
Yes, it took a protracted legal battle to get his book rights back, and he never recovered the majority of the monies owed after the company went bankrupt.
Didn't he also hint that it cost him his marriage?
He did, and whether or not that's true, certainly a bad contract can create a lot of emotional and mental stress.
And he's not alone. But we don't hear about all the bad deals because the majority of author issues only appear on personal blogs.
And although there's no sure thing, and even the best intended publisher can experience unforeseen hardships, before you sign with a small press publisher, there's several areas you should investigate.
It's an exciting experience when someone says, "We want to publish you." But to ensure you don't arrive in the land of broken dreams, suspend excitement, quell your eager ego, and do your homework.
So here's a list of questions and areas you should investigate before signing with any small press publisher.
The first question is, who is this publisher?
In the United States, starting a business is a relatively easy and low-cost enterprise.
In some states, the only requirement is the completion of a simple form and a small check, usually from $100 to $500.
And you should know the government doesn't investigate, review, or inspect any aspects of the business applying. The process is one of registration, and the registrant decides if they want to be a corporation, an S Corp, a doing business as, or as we did, an LLC.
The good news is that all registered business entities have basic information online, such as the owner's name, their address, and the year of incorporation. This information is all part of the public record, and anyone can search them.
If you can't find a small press publisher in the public records, you should ask your contact in which state they're registered. If they aren't a registered entity, then you just shouldn't do business with them.
Yeah, the point is that registering a business is so easy. Why wouldn't they?
So that leads us to the second question, which is who's in charge?
The public records will list the owners and agents of the organizations.
Mm-hmm.
In today's social media world, you should not be opposed to Googling the names of those owners.
Now, I worked for a middle-sized corporation, and myself and the other executives, we didn't hide our backgrounds and we didn't use fictitious email accounts.
One of the biggest deceptions today is book service providers attempting to look bigger and more important by using fake email accounts to pose as assistants, even company agents and other positions that don't exist. I myself have received emails from assistants in the past, and I mean from author's assistants, and which an author's salary, and that's just not possible.
No. And me too. Now, I'm fortunate that I'm trained in scientific content analysis, and honestly, I have a lot of fun analyzing these fake assistants and the tells that reveal it's the same person writing all those emails under a different name.
But if you're not trained, then before signing a contract with a small press, ensure they're willing to provide you a list of the staff that is relevant to your arrangement.
Certainly. If they're secretive and they try to dodge that kind of question, I wouldn't do business with them.
The third question to ask before signing is, what is their level of experience?
It's not just a question of how long they've been in business. It's a question of the skill level of leadership and those doing the important work. As a side note here, a lot of small presses and even larger service providers, they're outsourcing the work to freelancers of unknown origin, which is, by the way, something you can do yourself without signing their contract.
Again, it's easy to set up a business with a fancy name, to send important sounding emails and company letterhead, and to create a professional looking website and imprint, so be careful.
But you want to be certain the people you sign with actually have some experience.
Recently, both Raymond and I had the opportunity to be a part of an anthology with other authors. Initially, I thought it would be a great idea.
Yeah, which you dragged me into.
I sure did. I did drag you into it. But as the little warning signs began to show up, we decided, not to sign the contract.
First, the publisher, she wasn't registered in her state of operation. Second, she had difficulties delivering the promised contract for us to read. And third, when she did, and we got to read the contract, she listed her right to both edit the stories for grammar and for content.
That last one might not seem a big deal, but since my name is my brand, I won't give up my rights to approve any changes to my work.
Yeah, we decided, as you said, not to publish in the anthology. When I informed the publisher of my decision in very nice and professional terms, she immediately deleted me from her Facebook group. I was out, done.
Yeah, no notifications, nothing. No reply, right?
The good thing was that's how I knew she got my email, because I was deleted from the group. That was my response. You're dead to me.
Exactly. In the end, though, the anthology never even got published. And the publisher quietly ended communication without explanations to the other authors. And a lot of them, they sent her emails because they wanted an update. They wanted to know what happened. So instead of replying, she just ended up posting on social media that she was being harassed.
So it was a good call. I'm glad it didn't work out. But it's important to, understand the small press publishers, they have their own dreams to find the next big thing, and that's fine. Just be confident they have the experience and the professionalism to deal with the many challenges of the industry before you sign with them.
And the fourth question to ask is, which authors have they published?
Every company has to start somewhere, and someone has to be a business's first client. However, if this small press is brand new and they have no other authors, you just have to understand your risk is going to be much higher.
Obtaining a list of authors will provide you with the ability to review the professionalism of their publications.
You'll also get an idea of the types of efforts they make in marketing, the success of their authors, and even a chance to discuss with the authors the company and how it operates.
Exactly.
Now, question number 5 is, what is their financial backing? And we're going to discuss that right after we return from this short announcement.
Hey everyone!
We're excited to tell you about the launch of our book contest, the Chapter of Excellence Awards.
There just isn't any chapter more important than your very first one.
It's the one that hooks readers, agents, and publishers.
And we're showcasing the best of the best with our Chapter of Excellence contest.
So if you think your first chapter is a killer,
Or you'd like to find out if it is,
then sign up for your chance to win one of 3 awards in your genre.
plus one author will win the grand prize of $250.
And we'll also select an author to be a featured interview on the Writers Podcast, where they'll get a chance to talk about their first chapter, their book, and their writing journey.
An entry is simple and affordable at just $15.
So to enter, just visit writersafterdark.net, go to the entry page, and fill out the short form.
Don't miss your chance to show readers your excellence.
That's right, enter today and show them what you got. So, back to question 5. What is their financial backing?
You may not feel comfortable asking such a question. You may think it will spoil the deal. But this is perhaps one of the most critical questions to ask.
Publishing a book costs money. Book covers, editing, formatting, marketing, and the setup of all that isn't free if it's going to be professional.
Right, and book sales rarely cover the cost of these things, and when they do, it often takes a long time.
So you have to ask, how is this publisher able to spend thousands of dollars to publish your book if they don't have a significant source of capital or revenue?
Now, every contract or deal is different, and you may be responsible for these items, or, they may come out of your future royalties.
But most often when authors get burned, it's because the publisher just didn't make enough money.
If a small press is offering to do all the work at all the cost, it is entirely appropriate to ask about their financial health, especially if you're exchanging any of your book rights for those services.
Yeah, which brings us to our 6th question. What are their goals and objectives? Many small press publishing companies are owned and operated by self-published authors,
It's smart marketing.
which we call smarketing.
Yes.
It's marketing.
It's some marketing and good business because authors' books are more likely to be purchased by a bookstore if the publisher is listed as a company rather than under the author's name.
The question, however, goes to their goals and objectives. If they know only a little more than you do, then you have to wonder if they know enough to help you achieve your goals.
Also, you need to know if they want to create a publishing company simply to pay for or promote their own work, or if they have an actual interest in running a viable business.
Look, this isn't to say there is anything wrong with a self-published author turned publisher. They, better than most, they're going to understand the hardship and the dream.
And that can make them a lot more sensitive to the art and more empathetic to the authors than someone who has never written a novel.
Right. For example, Meredith Wilde.
Oh, your girlfriend?
Well, yes, until she ages out. But anyways, she's a best-selling self-published author who, after closing a multi-million-dollar book deal, began a small press publishing company of her own with a goal to assist other writers. But she did, however, hire a CEO with impressive experience in traditional publishing to run her company.
That was marketing.
That's marketing.
And that brings us to question number 7. Who is doing the work? If the answer is you are, then I'd question the purpose of a contract.
Right. If editing, proofing, book cover, and marketing are all your responsibilities, why even give them a cut of your sales?
For that, spend a few $100s and open your own company.
If, however, the publisher is providing those things, then you'll want to know who is doing the work. Does the editor have real credentials? I've used editors in the past and discovered they knew less about semicolons than I did. That's a problem.
Another thing is, if they're providing a book cover, then who is a graphic designer? What is their experience, and where are they getting the artwork from?
Now, this last one can be a legal question, as even royalty-free photos have certain publishing restrictions. And I'll tell you, there's books out there that are absolutely violating the usage terms and agreements.
Apart from that, you want to know if your stuff is going to look like it's a copycat from other mass-produced covers.
Or if they get your genre's feel and look.
I've seen publishers where all covers are the same colors, the same fonts, and they have the same feel, no matter the genre. It's off-putting.
Yeah. So our 8th question is, how long is their publication process? A traditionally published book can take a year or 2 to hit the bookshelves. It's why traditional publishers provide advances of various levels.
If your small press consideration is short-staffed or no staff,
Hmm.
or has a lot of books in front of yours, you could be waiting a long time to see your book in print.
Right. And if they're offering no advance, then it can be a long time before you ever see any money.
Knowing the process in advance provides another benefit. You can gauge the organizational quality of their process.
Right. For example, if they promise publication, say, in 6 months, and on month number 5, you've had no inquiries or messages from your assigned editor, you can be pretty confident that 6 months just ain't going to happen.
Or it is going to be a very rushed job.
And although we'll discuss the contract next, you should consider having an opt-out clause if they don't meet your designated time.
Yes, so question number 9 is, what are your contractual rights?
Funny you should ask. Now, I'm not an attorney, and I don't even play one on television, so nothing here should be construed as legal advice.
That's funny because I actually play a neurosurgeon in front of Netflix.
Me and Dr. Shepard, before his death, we had a lot of consultations. However, I do have experience with contracts, and the best advice I can offer is this. A verbal agreement isn't worth the paper it's written on.
You should know your rights as specified in the contract you are signing.
And if you don't understand something, you should get it written. Written clarification. Did I mention it should be written clarification?
So basically it should be what?
In writing. Written
Oh,
clarification.
got it. We mentioned the opt-out clause if they miss their obligation, and as a part of that, all rights should revert back to you if they breach the agreement terms.
Yeah, and also, if the book is to be published only in one country, don't give them rights to publish later in other countries.
Yeah, that's true. Don't give them the rights to the story either. Only give them the rights to publish and distribute the story.
And don't give away things like audio, digital, or movie rights either unless you've been fairly compensated.
Now, those might seem like far-fetched dreams, but I'm sure J.K. Rowling never considered a movie deal or a theme park when she was walking Harry Potter around London.
Right, and although she only received a few thousand for the UK publishing deal, she sold the US rights for over $100,000, and I can't even imagine what the Universal Studios deal was worth. Or the movie deal.
Exactly. Your point is, you never know. And you should limit what you give up unless there is a substantial payday in advance.
Substantial. And think of substantial in terms of what's substantial money, not what's just good today to pay your bills. And I would say your best bet, have an attorney review the agreement. It could be the best $200 you've ever spent. And if you don't have one, I've got one for you.
Which brings us to our final question. How does their accounting system work?
Sooner or later, I'm going to imagine you'll want to get paid for your sales. And you should know in advance how their system works, when they reconcile these sales, when and how you'll be paid, and what are your rights to audit the sales claims they make.
Remember that Brian Keane issue?
I do.
His zombie series sold a ton of copies. Here's the thing. He never even saw a dime of that money.
Now, it's true that you might meet with some resistance when asking these 10 questions.
You may even meet with hostility or have the offer rescinded.
But I've been in the corporate world for over 18 years, and I have never found these type of customer questions to be anything but good business. As a service provider, I understand a client's need to evaluate my credibility.
Of course, there may be some questions the publisher can't or won't answer completely. It is unlikely they will open their checkbook for your inspection, but still, they should be able to explain how they fund their business.
More importantly, you want to work with a publisher who understands and appreciates your concerns and is willing to take a little time to provide you with answers and assurances.
Interactions that are deceptive or seem hostile, vague, or dismissive indicate future issues, and these are not the types of companies you want to entrust your hard work to.
Sure, it's okay to take a risk. Just ensure it's a calculated risk and you understand the potential pitfalls and your options should something go wrong.
The future of traditional publishing may lie in the hands of small press publishers.
Listen, I think it does. Their ability to be creative, adaptive, and flexible offers many advantages over the larger houses, but as we discussed, selecting a small press publisher requires you do some homework.
Yeah, for an author, nothing is worse than seemingly reaching that publishing dream only to discover their publisher isn't who they thought they were.
And although there is no perfect system and there are no guarantees, any author considering the small press alternative should, at a minimum, investigate these 10 areas before signing a contract.
So we'll leave you with this quote by Theopaphitus.
I'm so glad you said that. Do your research, build your knowledge base. Entrepreneurs don't take risks, they take calculated risks, and only the good ones.
Thank you for listening to the Writers Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. For more articles, news, and advice, visit our website, writersafterdark.net, or follow us on Facebook and Twitter. The Writers Podcast is a Writers After Dark radio production. Executive producers SK Anthony and Raymond Esposito. Copyright 2017.